Good morning. We'll call our Community Services Committee meeting to order. Our first order is to call the roll, please.
Ms. Weber?
Present.
Ms. Parker? Ms. Polk?
Present.
Mr. Snipes?
Present.
Ms. Peters? Present. Mr. Tholen? Mr. Carrico?
Present.
Mr. Kirkstra?
Present.
Ms. Dreckhoff?
Present.
Ms. Bryan?
Present.
Ms. Hudson?
Present.
Mr. Smith?
Present.
Mr. Alexander Hildebrand?
Present.
Mr. Wheeler? Mr. Searoy? We have a quorum.
And again, thank you for being here, because we can take care of a lot of business that way by your being here. I appreciate it very much. The other thing I appreciate, there aren't any public comments that I have any notices for, and I don't know that there are any presentations, as far as I know. Okay, to the minutes, and what I was going to say, thank you to Kelly. We have 2 months of minutes, so I hope you've had a chance to read over them. They were sent to you. Is there if you've seen them, would someone move that we accept these 2 minutes plus the county clerk's report, the assessor's report, the recorder's report, and the animal control report? Mr. Carrico said he would move that, and
Polk.
I'll put here, Ms. Hudson will second it. Thank you, Ms. Holt. All in favor of accepting all of those things, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. The motion carries. Okay. First, then next, the county clerk's report.
You've already approved the report, so thank you for that. I'm just here if anybody has any questions.
We need you to highlight it.
We took in money this month.
Well, how
So
about
the doors are still open, so we're good with that.
same amount of people getting married as there used to be?
Love is still in the air, so yeah, so we're
What else?
that's it for the highlights for that.
Okay, but you have some notes?
No, I don't.
Well,
I really just open it up for anybody that had any questions at all.
Machines. We want to talk about machines.
Not in here yet, but we will be second week in September. Liberty will be coming in with some machines and be training office staff. They'll be leaving a couple behind, so we will be doing we'll be opening it up, inviting all of our election judges to come in and get some hands-on experience before we do some harder core training in the springtime before the election. So yeah, we'll be soon.
Good, isn't that good?
Yes, absolutely.
At this point, then you're in all set for November or no, June. You need to be set for June.
For both, actually, but yeah.
So just review those election dates again. Primary and
the primary will
filing.
be June 28th, 2022. Filing period will be March 7th through the 14th. First day to circulate petitions, January 13th. Early voting dates I don't have at the tip of my tongue right now, but
election day is November.
November 8th. That also, something to think about, will be a county board day. I probably won't be present for that one. So I don't know. I know we have in the past changed the date of that, but that would be to the pleasure of the board. So just something to think about.
The other is coming in this morning, at least one municipality in our county is going to ask for a recount on census. So how do those census affect your polling places? And
not one bit.
Not one bit.
Really? Yeah, it will be based on, our precincts are determined by, we try to stay within county board lines as much as possible. But based on the board that was voted on in June, I believe, May or June. I have precincts ready to go, but I just wanted to wait until we got the final census data and confirmed that that there won't be any tweaks or anything like that. As far as precincts go, one of the things that we look at when we're creating our precincts is our judges, and part of the problem that we have with our aging population of judges is that we're getting less and less people that they're interested in serving as judges. So one of the things that was a factor when we were drawing our precincts was we have to have so many judges working in so many precincts. So we did have to we are looking at doing some consolidation of polling places and precincts. Manteno, we're going to be dropping probably one polling place from that township. Kankakee, we'll be dropping 2. In Bourbonnais, we'll be dropping 1. In Herscher, we have 2 polling places there currently. We'll be going to 1. Certainly something that we can revisit if it looks like demand is going to be outpacing what we have as far as number of voters at the polling place on election day. We can revisit that and divide precincts post-election. So, but as we're looking at it right now, I think we're looking at 60 or 61 polling places for the county for the primary election.
Times 5. Ideally.
Well, and in some locations, I can go down to 3, work 3. And in some locations, Sumner Township, for example, there's a finite number of voters there, and we don't need to have 5 judges working there, but we've got some areas where we've got a lot of, concentration of people there, and we'll be working at least 5 judges at those locations for the November election.
Anybody else have comment on elections or machines or getting married or those things?
If we could combine the 2, get a marriage license and get your ballot cast at the same time. But Colton, I'm looking at you. So if I don't have anything else, I don't.
You're done. Huh?
Okay.
Okay. Thank you for.
Thank you all very much. Have a great day.
Okay, let's turn to assessor. Mr. Blair's there, coming this way. Look, please, in your report and see if you have any questions or what he needs to highlight. He has completed projects and pending projects. Oops. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I just have a few things to go over with you this morning, so I want to go over things that we've done since we last spoke. I did receive the assessment changes from all the township assessors. I got that toward the end of July, so all of those changes are in our system, which allowed me to move to the supervisor of assessments level, and actually the deadline for that was yesterday. We closed that off yesterday, which allows me now this week to move into the pending items, which number 1 there is equalization. I need to equalize assessments probably by the end of the day Thursday, so that we can start working on a file for Postal Partners to create our notices to go out in the mail and get ready for publication and things of that nature. So publication, notification of assessment changes, I'm looking at the week of September 9th, which is a Thursday. That our predominant publication is the Journal. That's where most of our changes go in. That would be a Thursday the 9th. That's what I'm hoping to be able to publish. That's the date that I'm hoping to be able to publish on. And then various other newspapers might publish on a Wednesday, which would be the 8th, or Friday the 10th. But that's the week that we're looking to publish. And then the last day to file an appeal would be, 30 days out from there, which would be the day after Columbus Day. I believe that's October 12th off the top of my head. So like I said, once we publish assessments, it does open that 30-day window to accept appeals, and then we would start the Board of Review level and start hearings and things of that nature. So those are, that's what we've accomplished since we last spoke. Those are the things that are coming up in the department, and I would open up the floor to any questions that you may have.
Does someone have a question? The most important thing, I think, is the integrity of your assessors. And because if that land is not correctly assessed, it causes a whole lot of problems. So
absolutely.
You are probably very proud of your assessors. Who does such a righteous job, right?
I am proud of the assessors, not only for for the work that they do and the work that they put in, but the fact that they got the numbers into us by the end of July, which allowed us to continue with the same schedule that we've had for the last, this is 7 years in a row. And so I do want to say thank you to the assessors for coming through on that and getting the assessment changes to us in a timely manner. So thank you very much.
As well as having the appeal procedure so that if somebody feels it hasn't been correctly assessed, then there's an appeal process and a hearing. So
that's extremely important to the public, that they have a right to have their case heard if they feel like they've been assessed inappropriately. And we certainly intend to uphold the integrity of that process as well.
The other, you said your postal partners. That was a new phrase to me. A postal partner is the post offices. Are you? It's
a company that is local here to Kankakee County, and they will print the notices for us, stuff them in envelopes, and get them in the mail for us, so that we don't have that machine anymore. We used to have a machine, and we would fold them ourselves and things like that, but it just wasn't cost effective to keep it here. And Postal Partners is the company that helps us accomplish that project.
And for the future, there was at one time a discussion about putting all of that information online on your website instead of sending things or putting them in newspapers to save you money in your budget, but that hasn't gone any farther.
As far as the legislature is concerned, that needs to change at that level, and as of this moment, it has not changed. No.
A discussion happened, but nothing happened otherwise. It was a thought.
Yeah, I think it's an annual discussion that typically doesn't go anywhere, but eventually someday I think that may very well happen, but not for the 2021 assessment year.
It just has budget repercussions for you of how much money it costs to put all that in.
Oh, absolutely. It's 80 cents per line in the newspaper plus the header that we put in. So there is a considerable cost to publication. And
plus you don't have any actual proof that that's where they get their information, in that newspaper, rather than when it came to their house. So only people that get the information is my neighbor when I look up whether they're changed on their property. Okay, anything else, Mr. Wheeler?
Thank you. I just to clarify.
Hold on, 10. Okay.
Just to clarify, and it was just a word, but sometimes people take those words or the wrong way. They're not our assessors. They're elected by the public. So I don't want people to think that Eric is running the group of assessors out there.
Yeah,
or else he'll get complaints from people about that. And it's really, they elect their own person who assesses properties in their township.
Well, and that's the other compliment. They are local to the area, so they should know their value, the properties they're evaluating best. That's the good news, isn't it?
Yeah,
your assessor is elected by you to take care of the property you are involved in. So thank you for correcting that, stating that. But they are your friends.
We work very well together, that's for sure.
Okay. Anything else? Thank you, Eric. Good report. Thank you for your time.
Have a great day, folks.
Thank you. Same to you.
Turn to the recorder's report. We have approved it, and I hope you were smiling when you approved it, because when Lori comes up, she's going to just smile again because the number is super duper good. She continues to tell us what a great county we live in and how things are moving and people are buying and people are selling and people are recording.
Yep.
So
it is a great county we live in, contrary to what some people might say.
So the number we're talking about is $194,053.73. It's on 2 pages. One is on the list, the monthly report page, as well as your chart of the different 3 years running. So
to really understand this report, because just so you know, all this money just doesn't stay here. We kind of filter out to different entities as well as GIS. So the real number you should look at is the state stamp number, because that gives you an idea of just in 1 month what closed. So you take that 61,000 times $1.
oh.
That's how you figure out the actual net consideration of what took place in the month of sales. So
Property-wise.
property-wise,
Numbers,
or yeah.
Yeah.
So, and then along with all the other activities, there's, releases and mortgages and assignments and different kinds of liens that come in throughout the month too. But we turned over to the assessor's office at the end of the month 139 deeds. So, yeah. So we're keeping them very busy too.
Well, that means that they could be either way, deeds that could change hands one way or the other. 139
Right.
locations.
And then sometimes there's situations where somebody wants to add somebody on a deed or different things like that. So there's that kind of deed activity too. But net consideration wise is that state stamp number.
The state stamp number. And again, just to reiterate that 194,000 is only less than December 2020, but more than 2019 and 2018 numbers individually. So
Yep. And going for even further back.
if we were to look further back
Yes,
than
so,
that. So
yes.
So in a time when we thought it was kind of slushy, it's not too slushy
No.
in your office, is
No,
it?
like I said last month, things are happening and are good in our county, and this is a reflection of it. It's just not talked about enough because it's a good thing. People don't want to talk about good things. They'd rather boast about bad things and just salivate it. So we're really proud of this, and we're really glad to see the activities that are happening in our county.
Yeah, Tribune article mentioned fraud again, and I'd like you to bring it up again after I mention this one thing. A person was a person, like, I would say like Colton, where you take property, make it all nice and better, and sell the property, and then you use that money to buy more property. A person in the Chicago area had done that and wanted his $150,000 profit to be transferred to his account, and it was hacked in the meantime, and somebody took his $150,000 and put it in a different account. So how do you prevent that fraud? And then we'll go back to how do you prevent that fraud? How do you get your money from that sale?
Well, you get it at closing, so it's up to the title company. So I don't know if they did a wire transfer or not, but that's probably how that went down.
And you don't.
I just take a check at closing.
There
I don't trust anybody with a wire.
Yeah.
There are a lot of transactions taking place today where they're doing the wire transfer, and like everything else in our world, there's somebody out there looking a way to take advantage and take your money. So I'd rather have check in hand too. So yeah.
And do you come in person to her office for that?
No, that's all
No.
up to the title company.
Yeah, it's
to do
never-
that. So they do all my closing and everything.
That's
So
nothing like that is ever done in our office.
Yeah.
We don't prepare documents. We only record documents.
I knew that you weren't involved in that
Yeah.
part of it. But then turn to your fraud alert
Uh-huh.
device, your email that you have. Tell us once more again, emphasize that any person can come and register in your office.
If you own property in Kankakee County, you should definitely, you don't even have to come into my office. Go to the website, which we're going to touch on here in a minute. Call my office. My staff is more than happy to take a few minutes and put the information in for you. And it's really just a recall system. Once an action has taken place in your name, you're going to get notified either by email or by a phone call. And they're going to let you know something happened. And you know what you did, hopefully, you remember. And you could call us. They're going to give you a document number. We'll look it up and tell you exactly what it is. If it's not something you did, then I'm going to encourage you to come into the office. We're going to start the fast track with the state's attorney's office. But go ahead.
and I actually got mine today. This
you?
morning. So
What does it
the
literally
document was
say?
recorded yesterday. So
Okay.
That's what it says.
yep,
A document
got the
is-
email.
Uh-huh.
So
And do you need to recognize the document? Do you need to recognize the property number or anything
No.
like that? No.
no, I don't have to, but
And does someone in your office do that?
What? No,
No, it's
this
the
is all done through my vendor.
Yep.
This is a part of my, it's called Life Cycle. It's part of my benefits of having the program that I have.
And you haven't responded because it's okay. You don't have to say yes, but you just,
It's not a reply
it just
email.
lets you know that there was something that
Yes.
was recorded in your name.
good. So the cycle works. That's what
It
you're doing.
does. Yes, it does.
What else do you have for us today?
The website, Kelly? So 6 years ago, we did a total, let me go even further back. In 2008, when I took office, there was no website. The recorder had a page on the county's website. In 2009, I created our first website, making it more informative and giving opportunity for forms and other information. So it came to about 5 or 6 pages. 6 years ago, it was time to renew it again. Just like anything else, painting your walls or whatever, you need to refresh. So it was time for a refresh. Well, 6 years later, here we are. It's time for another refresh. So just bring your attention to the main page, which is the Office of the Recorder. We have a mission statement in my office, and I also wanted to give more real look to it. So I took a picture of the building. Chairman, I hope that was okay. I just realized I didn't ask for permission for that. Going down further, at the bottom of that page, is it going? There you go. So there's the latest news, and we found with COVID last year, we really like to reiterate a lot of information we were getting from the county board, as well as sharing other information from other offices. So I wanted that to be kind of right there. You didn't have to go look for it. And then the next one is forms, and then the third one over there is fees, and then there's a little arrow. Yep. Frequently asked questions, and I think there's one more. Oh, no, it shouldn't. Oh, it's wrapping. It shouldn't do that.
Oh, it's wrapping.
That's okay. So from there, then, if you go back, can you go down a little bit more? There we go. So it was time to introduce my staff to the world too, because I'm not just the only face in the recorder's office. I have an awesome staff who work very hard every day. So I wanted a current picture of the staff, and so you see them there. And then we also have the new books. And then I have, for the last several years, been researching the historical list of recorders from the county. So that information is on there.
Well,
Going all the way back to beginning time,
beginning of time.
1853.
Some of you recognize the names, I'm sure.
Yep, Jacob Garterson, I think is how to say it. Yep, was our very first recorder. He was actually the circuit clerk also.
Oh, yes.
Okay, so questions on the recorder's website?
Easy peasy, right? Easy to get to.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
So what's an example of the form that's there?
So if you go to the Forms tab, so you have an opportunity to get the quitclaim deed informational packet, which is a packet of information that will help you through actually filling the form out. Then we also have the quitclaim deed there. You can fill it out as a PDF right on the site and print it, or fill it out, by hand. If you want to be an online subscriber, under Forms is our Laredo agreement, as well as going to the online access gives you that opportunity if you want to know more about that as well too. That's our opportunity to be a title company in Washington State, and you can be one of my customers and you'll have access to the system 24/7. The other information on there is about the real estate transfer declaration, which Mr. Eckhoff should be very familiar with, and that's how they declare those state and county revenue stamps that we collect, so, which is a big deal. So, and other than that, there's also a document request form. So if you're not savvy and you know you need something, there's a form on there. If you just fill it out and send it in with a check for $10, we will search up and locate the document you're looking for and send it back to you.
Really, that's probably the best one of all.
It is. It is. So
let's go to Colton once more. Where do you go on these?
he comes to my office.
Yeah, usually I go to her office.
Oh, but
I also have a stack.
a stack from him?
A stack of forms for
Oh, a
anyone
stack
who
of
needs them.
forms.
Yes.
Oh.
Yes.
And you fill them out there?
Yeah,
Yeah.
so much easier that way.
Is it?
Yeah.
But if you're, because you're in town, you're around, but if there are people on the other side.
Right. And we point people to our website all the time. And also I have additionally on there, go to the ... Kel on the right. Yeah. There. So you see, I also have links to some of the other offices that we work with. So there's information on there for you to go to whatever you need. Okay?
Okay, good. Thank you for that nice explanation.
Yes, that's under that. Yes. And once you're on GIS, there's also another link. If you click it, it'll take you to our tapestry site if you're looking for the deed from that property. And for $6.95,
you can print that.
it's yours.
Peter, did you have a question? No, it looked like you were questioning.
No.
Puzzle mind. Okay, thank you. Anything else? Excellent job.
Thank you.
You're a busy lady, right? You say?
We are. Well, and the staff. They, like I said, do an excellent job. So.
Thanks so much.
Yep.
Thank you. Okay.
Very good. See y'all next month.
Okay. Ms. Laird's coming forward, and her report is very detailed. This is the July. This is through July 31st. Would you say that, Karen? Yes. Okay. So sometimes you have questions about it. What would you like to highlight, and then we'll see if we have a question.
Our microchips. We microchipped 40 animals in 1 week. We did it through the 4th of July weekend. So we did $915 in microchips, which is a large amount, which is nice to do because any animal that was scared because of the fireworks that ran away, you know, could be tracked down that way. So we did 40 animals in 1 week. That was returned to owners and microchip clinic. That, and then you can also see the increase in cats we took in.
Yes.
There has been quite a few cats come into our facility. I think we have roughly 25 cats and kittens in our building right now. So, which is a lot for us. I want to say when I first started, there was probably twice that, I want to say, which is a lot, meaning that they're above dogs too. They're currently not above dogs right now. We're trying not to get that way, but at some point they may have to, which isn't always the best to house them together.
So the number you were just talking about, a current beginning of the month inventory was 21 dogs, 14 cats, right in the middle of the report.
Right.
And what you said to me is, you quoted what's there now, I think. Is that on a different?
The end of the month was
end of the
10 dogs and 23 cats. But roughly, you know, as of right now, there's about twice, well, probably 15 dogs and 25 cats.
And that's a house full, if that's the way to say it. But
It's a lot. It's a lot for our 2 kennel technicians to take on each day. They work their tails off. No pun intended there.
Why you
And I mean, they're working constantly from 8:30 to 4:30. So sometimes lunches are pushed back a little bit because the cleaning takes a long time, the feeding takes a long time, and then we have lots of kittens too, so we have to feed those first and take care of them. So
136 animals handled for the month of July.
which is a lot.
It's a lot also. But the other news is under the adopted, which is a stray animal disposition number C. Dogs adopted, transferred to other places, 16, and cats transferred 43.
So that was a shelter partner in Wisconsin that came and they took 26 cats and kittens from us. So that was fantastic that they came down from Wisconsin, transported them out. Again, facilities are, you know, hit or miss depending on their availability. Right now we have a shelter partner coming in this week to take cats and kittens, but we need space for dogs as well. So we have no back aisle cages available, which means no big dogs. You know, it's hard to house them. It is. So we're hoping to get transferred to take a couple of those.
The other part is the 37 bites.
Yes.
And that's, what's a normal circumstance? Was it the hot weather? Or was it the, what causes that?
It's hard to say. A lot of those are, you know, kids being kids, playing with the dogs, roughhousing with them, accidents happen, or dog-on-dog attacks. Somebody tries to break them up, a person gets bit, things like that. A lot of them can be strays running up to you. You try and push them back, and they think you're playing, and they bite. We classify a scratch from a tooth as a bite as well. So we have to house them for that reason, or do a rabies quarantine.
Okay. And then the nice total of $54,000 income up at the top there, is it?
Yes, that was a lot of registration for the month of July. We did a lot of that. A lot of it is June and July, depending on when the checks come in for registration. But a lot of that was because of June and July. And a lot more
38,000.
animals come in to get vaccinated in the summer too.
Oh, when it, for weather reasons, I suppose so. 38,000 in registration, is that all in-house?
No, a lot of that is from the veterinarians. So you bring your dog to the vet or your cat to the vet, and you pay for your rabies tag right then and there, and then they pay us.
Okay. Any other questions on the first page? Otherwise, we'll turn to the second page, which is the statistical data, kind of more completely. There's strays again, and who they were, the dogs and the puppies and the cats and the kittens, and those are those big numbers.
Right.
Yeah, those big numbers. And then a pocket pet even showed up.
Yes, we had a ferret come in from the village of Bradley.
A stray ferret? How do you recognize it?
So it wasn't, yeah, it was a ferret that had gotten loose from somebody's yard, I guess, and wandered up on somebody's pool deck. Village of Bradley called us. We went out there, took the ferret, posted on our website, got lots of comments. The owners came forward. The ferret was microchipped and returned to the owner.
Microchip a ferret.
Yes.
So,
Yep. They are actually listed on our ordinance. So
this is the page of the disposition that I'm really pleased for, is that 39 strays, but down at the second part, disposition, were reclaimed by the owner, 34.
Correct.
Were those the same, 39, 34, the same animals?
it just depends on when they came in of the month, but most likely, actually on Saturday, we had 6 return to owner, and then yesterday we had 4 return to owner.
Oh.
So it helps that those come and go, but the other 15 that are in our building are still sitting there waiting for transfer or owner reclaim.
And they have chips?
One of them did,
Just not
but
finding
it was
the
an owner that had passed away that gave the dog to somebody else, so we had to prove ownership.
So then euthanasia sometimes comes up too, but again, we continue to emphasize it's the owner elected the euthanasia in 3 parts, or in this case, secondly, behavior injured dogs or something like that.
Correct,
The other
yes.
one. So it's 31 dispositions. And ending inventory, that's how what you mentioned to us earlier, is that ending inventory was 10 dogs, 23 adult cats, but that may move a little bit based on this report.
It's 20, it's total. It's the puppies and kittens are together, or puppies and dogs are together, and kittens are together. So we
Animal dog,
separate.
10, animal cat. Right,
Yes.
Okay. Anything else? Tinker couldn't be here today. She has other commitment, but she always likes to ask, what do you need? And I think that's an appropriate question. What do you need?
We need newspaper and we need cat food. So I did put those requests on our Facebook page. We are looking for both newspapers and cat food at this time. They're all for the cats. So we do give the cats wet and dry food. We do have dry food that we buy from a rescue, but cat food, wet food is a lot more expensive. We like to get donations on that just because people are willing to help usually.
They're generous,
So,
yeah.
surprisingly, my husband even stepped up and said, I'll donate this. So yeah, it kind of shocked me. So
that's good. Anything else? So the paper is an ongoing thing. Just if you get a newspaper every day, start stacking it up.
absolutely.
And deliver it to you would be best. That would be the most convenient, to take it to the shelter.
Right, yeah, like I was telling Mr. Herkstra, that you can even put them in a grocery bag and put them by our front door, and then we'll get them the next morning. So
The only time that didn't work is when it rained overnight. Remember
right,
that part?
yeah, that does happen
Can't help
sometimes. There is a mailbox there too. You could probably shove them in next to our door.
Okay, under, excuse me, stay a second, but Animal Welfare Advisory Committee did not meet this month because we're trying to work on that trap, neuter, release, and we just can't get our motor going on that. So it's just it's just a very important topic. You have an opinion on that, right? It would help you a lot.
It would help just depending on whether we get an ordinance or not. That's what we're looking at currently, is to get an ordinance. So it just depends if we have an ordinance or not. So
Then you have something to guide.
correct.
That's a good point. Yeah. So there's no other report than that, because that's kind of what our focus is right now.
Yes.
So, okay, well, thank you for that information. So, anything else for anybody? Mr. Wheeler?
Thank you. The last you had heard, how much did Bark have in their fund for the new building?
BARC meeting is actually Thursday night. I will find out for sure, but I want to say it was,
It's around 300, right?
no, it was like 130 or something like that.
Really?
I believe so, yes. Yeah. I can look at the treasurer's report.
Yeah, I would like to get a report, because if
Okay.
the sheriff asked for us to consider a new facility, we need to know how much they have, because that was collected for the purpose of the new facility.
Right, yeah, and Bark was more than willing to help in any fashion. They just asked that if we look at a facility before we purchase, they wanted to be involved just to see where the money was going. They just wanted to see the building, which is understandable.
Which is fair.
And so combined with the 263, you know, whatever that number is that's where we're starting from.
Correct, and you can talk to Steve in finance too. There's actually additional money that's sitting in an account that I have not transferred over.
Right.
I'm all new to all this, so I don't know which goes where. So there is additional funds in there as well. Not a whole lot, but there's enough to jump in there.
Appreciate it.
And when we talked about this months and months and months ago, once you build a building, you're not done paying.
It's the rehab too, and the refurbishing the way we want it, and the equipment inside. We do have some cages available that are in the property on 45 that need to be, you know, put into the new facility, whether you do guillotine door styles for the dogs for outdoor runs, which would help a lot because we have had a couple dog-on-dog attacks, and it would stop those from happening because they'd go outside by themselves, basically, and wouldn't be able to interact with other animals out there, in a sense.
So,
The other thing I just want to mention is that TNVR, it requires an ordinance, but more so it requires a lot of money to do it. And that's the problem, is it's very expensive.
And someone step up with a 501c3 who would take that on to do grants is what they're looking at right now.
Yeah.
so all those are pockets that aren't filled right now.
And it's a lot to take on, whether animal control, I wanted to know animal control's involvement. That's why we need an ordinance to see what animal control's involvement is, so before we go forward with it, if we decide to go forward.
Place was, the veterinarians that we talk with, the place is the other part. Where to do that is another whole part. And there's just many places, parts to it that financing is.
It's expensive, it's needed, but it's also expensive.
Very needed, because it would, when you do that, then you solve a lot of problems of care of those animals.
It takes time. It's not a, you know, can't go in the Village of Bradley and trap for a week and be done. It's, you come the next month or the next year and you keep trapping over and over in the same place. And then they finally get to them after a few years.
And it's only one place.
Exactly.
It hasn't done anything for Kankakee
or the trailer parks or anything like that. Yes.
Shapiro.
Yes, I've heard that's bad.
A lot of cats.
Yes, she says. Work her there.
There are people who feed them.
6. Okay.
There are people there who feed them at Shapiro. They come and drop off food. But then at one point they did tell them to stop feeding them. So Shapiro, I don't know if we're still a dumping place, but there's. Sorry. There's cats. There are cats that get dropped off at the Shapiro campus, and there have been historically people that would come and feed them, and then our raccoon population blossomed because they like cat food too. And so the mandate was no more cat feeding, but I still see cats, and there are a couple pregnant kitties out there right now, so I feel bad for them because they're not out in the wild.
Yeah,
it's
unfortunate.
And then the wildlife expert that we have on AWAC mentions that if you put cat food out, that does bring the raccoons to your house. So now you got wildlife as well as cats. So.
We had a huge raccoon.
Yes,
I believe they had somebody come and trap them a while ago for a while, and I can't remember how many he trapped, but it was a significant amount.
Yeah. And that wildlife number on your report even probably is raccoons, isn't it? Don't you have a?
Most of it, yes.
Yeah. Or a ferret. Mr. Snipes.
Thank you, Madam. Now, in the IPTIP fund, with the sales of that building, that's going to raise up to a little bit over $400,000.
Depending on the sale of the building, yes. Yeah, I don't know that there. I know that there was an offer, I believe, but I don't think that it's gone further than that.
It's in closing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you for bringing that up. That's good news. And again, is that enough? What's enough here? It's ongoing and
especially
updated.
The way real estate prices are right now. It's very expensive too. And there's not a lot of property.
Good time to sell, bad time to buy.
Right. Even for charitable cause.
Yes.
All right. Anything else? Thank you for your comments. Thank you for your report. It's very thorough. Appreciate it. Okay. Said there's no update on any more than that on AWAC, and then under new and old business, is that something anyone has? Okay, Mr. Kirkstra.
Madam Chairman, I move we adjourn.
Second, Ms. Hudson, is that where I came over here? Okay, all in favor of adjourning, say aye. Aye. Any opposed, say no.